As a young child, going to school can be an exciting time in which you begin a new adventure. To the 5-year-old version of myself, it was a moment filled with both excitement and nervousness. As I walked into the building, I remember feeling anxious and shy as I worried about making new friends and fitting in with everybody else at the school. When thinking of school, my mind wanders to a place filled with learning and collaborating with others. It is the institution in which we are able to grow as individuals and make friends, all while learning new things that will carry us into our futures. Overall, I would have to say my experience in schools has been a pretty good one. I mean, sure, there were times I didn't enjoy, but there were so many times that I look back on and smile. I started this journey at Pullen Elementary right here in Mount Pleasant, where I was able to make new friends and fall in love with learning. This was the place in which I learned to read and write, and I will never forget some of the memories I made here. My time spent in elementary school was great. I really felt comfortable with my teachers and was inspired by them in so many different ways. However, it was during this time that I encountered my worst teacher. She was my elementary art teacher, and while she was able to teach me many important art techniques, she was extremely strict with all of her students and at times felt very cold towards them. She never really seemed to care and made sure everybody was doing things the way she wanted them to. While I can now understand why she was so strict about the rules in her classroom, I think that she could have been kinder and more inviting to her students to get them to be more excited about art. It was also during this time that I was able to experience my favorite teacher, who was my second grade teacher, Miss Stout. She was the person that inspired me to become a teacher, as she was kind and caring to all of her students. She was understanding during a time that I was struggling to fit in and feel comfortable in my school, and she was the person that got me excited about learning. She introduced me to some of my favorite authors at the time and really made me fall in love with reading, and it is because of this that she'll forever live on as my favorite teacher. I continued this journey into Mary McGuire, where I began making new friends and enjoying my time as a student. I slowly began preparing for middle school and was kind of nervous about making the transition to a bigger building in which I didn't stay in a single classroom all day long. Walking into Western Intermediate on the first day, I remember being nervous that I would get lost or wouldn't be able to open my locker. Even though this wasn't my favorite time of my educational journey, I was able to settle in a bit more and feel a little less awkward than I did on my very first day. It was a big transition that allowed me to become a better student and prepare myself for the next step I would take. Moving into high school, I was a little less nervous and was quickly able to fall into the routine. This was a place in which I was able to feel independent and enjoy just being with my friends and making memories. I was able to challenge myself with advanced courses and focus on my future. It was during my freshman year that I had my worst learning experience in my biology class. The teacher for this class didn't do much to explain difficult concepts to students other than tell them to read the book. He expected students to understand based on the worksheets and readings and didn't do much to help them along the way. I felt that if he had been aware of his students' struggles and tried to help more, the class would have gone much better than it had. As a teacher myself, I plan on helping students that struggle and take time to push them to do better in school. It was also throughout high school that I was able to have one of my best learning experiences. My lifestyle teacher, Miss Soul, was a great influence in my life and taught me some of the most valuable life lessons that I will continue using well into my future. She made a point to interrupt class topics and relate them back to our daily lives, which will greatly help me in the future. I was able to see how the topics we were covering could relate, and this is something that I want to incorporate into my classrooms. She not only taught me things I need to know, but inspired and encouraged me to become the best teacher I could be. She truly was helpful and made a huge impact on my life. It was during Miss Soul's education and career class that I was first asked to pick a teaching metaphor that fit my personality and beliefs as a teacher. When faced with this challenge, I did a lot of thinking about what it means to be a teacher, and to me that is like being a gardener, while our students are like the seeds that we help grow. In order to be a good gardener, one must take the time to work hard and dedicate themselves to their plants. They have to nurture and care for them in order to help them grow into blossoming, beautiful flowers. Like that, teachers have to dedicate themselves to their students and put in a lot of hard work and time to help the pupils grow into bright, successful adults. When I begin teaching my own classroom, I plan on creating an atmosphere in which my students can feel comfortable. During my senior year, I worked in a first grade classroom, and it was during that time that I was able to partake in a bullying lesson in which the kids created these bullied hearts and were able to focus on saying nice words instead of mean, hurtful ones. This lesson is something that I want to incorporate in my teachings in order to help kids understand the ways in which their words can hurt. I think it is an extremely important lesson and that it can help kids in many ways, just like what I want to do when I have a classroom of my own. Teaching has been something I have wanted to do since elementary school, and now that I am getting closer and closer to accomplishing this dream, I can't wait to help inspire kids and get them excited about learning. I hope to one day have a positive impact on my students' lives, just like the many great teachers I had throughout my educational journey.